Shahul, it's up to you.
Right, very good evening, fellow Rotarians. Welcome to today's session. As you know, this is a joint session between District 3300 and District 3310. So my grateful thanks to DRFC District 3300, PDG Siti, for kindly agreeing to do this with me and for doing most of the work as well. So thank you once again, PDG Siti. I would like to welcome our speaker, Shyanmei. Welcome to this joint districts event. It's really a pleasure to have you here. We are all really geared up to hear what you have to share with us. As you can see, we've got registration past 200 already. In fact, more than about 280 people have registered, and we expect more to come in. Now, also special welcome to District Governor Dolly. DG Bindi will join us a bit later, I hope. All the PDGs in our district and outside our district, DGEs, DGNs, district TRF committees, chairs, please welcome. I was very happy to have all of you here. Past presidents, club foundation chairs, welcome as well. President-elects, all members and guests from our district as well as outside our district. Welcome once again. Before we move on, I would like to make an announcement. Very sad one. Past District Governor David Ho from District 3300 passed away this morning. PG David Ho joined Rotary Club of Petaling Jaya in September 1968, and he served as governor in 1996-1997. He has served Rotary Club of PJ as well as the community for 53 years, and he's the longest serving Rotarian before his passing in the Rotary Club of PJ. He's a man of inspiration and a true Rotarian in every sense. Fellow Rotarians and guests, will you please join me to observe 1 minute of silence out of respect for the passing of past District Governor David Ho. Thank you very much, fellow Rotarians and guests. Thank you for your kind cooperation. And we wish the family of PDG David Ho all the best. And we're all in our prayers. Now, before we move on further, maybe Bernard, can you please show the slide about the Zoom etiquette first before we start? Right, so you can see they're all self-explanatory. The only thing I want to add is that there will be a discussion session after each presentation by our speaker. So please feel free to type in your questions in the chat group, and we will try to attend to as many of the questions as possible. If there's an opportunity, we'll ask you to present your question in person. Otherwise, both DRFC Siti and myself, we will manage the questions on your behalf. Right. Now it gives me great pleasure to introduce the people behind today's session. Thank you once again, District Governor Dolly, for being here and for supporting this event. And we are really pleased to have you here today. District Governor Dato' Bindi from 3300, she has another event on. We hope that she will join us after her event ends and at least give us a closing speech later on. Our speaker, Shyanmei. Thank you, Shyanmei. I met Shyanmei at the Manila Rotary Institute about 2 years ago. And since then, I've used all my free time to learn as much as possible from her. So this is an opportunity for the rest of us in District 3300 and 3310 to actually hear directly from her. So welcome once again, Shyanmei.
Thank you.
We have the DGSC from District 3300, Susan. Welcome, Susan. And we have our DGSC from our district, Vice President Ng Yahua. Welcome again. And my counterpart, I was really working really hard, and even though this is my second year, I thought that usually the second year is a honeymoon year. But with PDG Siti as my counterpart, I think I'm all charged up again. So Siti, welcome once again, and thank you for all the work that you have done. Now I would like to invite DRFC Siti to give a welcome address. PDG Siti, please.
Thank you, everyone. And once again, welcome to our first joint district event for the Rotary Foundation. And if you heard, Dr. Shahul has done all the introductions of everyone, and nobody is introducing him. So it gives me great pleasure to actually introduce and also welcome and thank DRFC Dr. Shahul for agreeing to put this event together. And at least our two districts could move on with trying to work together on global grants and share our thoughts, share our projects together. Without any further delay, I would like to now invite our District 3310 Governor, Dolly, Yeap, to address us this evening. DG Dolly, over to you.
Thank you, DRFC Past President Dr. Shahul and DRFC District 3300 Past Governor Siti Subaidah. Protocol has been observed. Good evening, my dear fellow Rotarians from far and near. Thank you to the organizer for inviting me to say a few words. I'm pleased to see many of you here tonight. Let me welcome all of you to this Rotary Foundation seminar on the topic so pertinent and opportune to us in taking advantage of the grant mechanism of the Rotary Foundation in the funding of many community service projects. I wish to welcome to our speaker, Ms. Wang. We'll benefit from her sharing of a wealth of knowledge and experiences in this subject, has also been mentioned by our PP Dr. Shahul. When I first look at the flyer promoting this seminar, I saw the title, Putting Together a Perfect Global Grant Application, with the word perfect in large bold lettering. It straight away make me think that both the organizer of this seminar and our speaker want to really impress upon us the importance of understanding the whole process of global grant application and to make it a perfect application. In the past, many Rotarians clubs found it very difficult to understand the application processes of the global grant, and this deterred many of them from applying. Despite the many recent changes made of TRF to simplify the application process, there are many who still find it difficult. This explains the low application of global grants or the many rejections of the applications. Looking at the program content again of this seminar, our speaker and the moderators have designed the program in such a way that it goes through with us the steps by steps of the application process, beginning with the needs assessment to understanding of the approval process. I hope by the end of this evening, we will have a much better understanding of the global grant application process and able to make a perfect application. I wish to congratulate the organizer for a successful seminar and wish everyone a meaningful evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DG Dolly, for your inspiring words. And of course, like I say once again, we are very pleased to have you here today. Now, before we start the program proper, we've reserved this segment to recognize three very special people. My two bosses, RRFC Jason Lim, PDG Jason, welcome. And from our own district, District 3310, ARRFC, PDG Michael Yee. Welcome again, PDG Michael. You've always been a good support and a source of great reference for all work of Rotary Foundation. Thank you very much for being here. And also I'd like to recognize one other person, RRFC elect, PDG Leslie from District 3300. Leslie, welcome. I had a good time working with Leslie last Rotary year, and we are pleased to know that he will be the RRFC after Jason. So welcome once again, Leslie. So all three gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. It's indeed an honor for Siti and myself to have the three of you here today. Thank you very much. Now let's go to the beginning of the program. We're going to conduct the first poll. Yes, the first poll, please, Bernard. And yes, before I forget, I think we have to recognize our Zoom tech. It's none other than Dr. Bernard from District 3300. Bernard, thank you very much for all the work. All right, so this is the poll. Please answer very quickly. Why are you here? Why are you here? A, B, C, and D. I'm not going to read out the answers. So please click and click submit. I think this poll will give us an idea, especially for the speaker and the moderators, myself and PDG Siti, the makeup of the audience. I think that's important before we start. So we know the makeup of the audience and who have done global grants before, who have not. And so we will be able to manage the discussion and hopefully the presentation as well.
Ending there.
All right, so this is the answers. As you can see, 25% have done global grants and wish to learn more. And 47% have not done any global grants, but wish to learn more. And about a quarter of you are either president, club TRF chair, and PE. I think that's a very, very good turnout. Thank you very much. I'm also extremely pleased that 0% answered, I'm not sure. Now, without further ado, can I please invite DGSC for District 3310, past President Yahua, to please make the introduction for our speaker. Yahua?
Yes, thank you very much, VP Dr. Shahul. It is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Shyanmei Wang as our main speaker for this evening. Shyanmei is a regional grants officer with the Rotary Grants Program since 2018. She manages grants mainly from Zones 9 and 10Cs. Zone 9 covers the 12 Taiwanese district, as well as mainland China, and District 3450, which comprises Hong Kong, Macau, and Mongolia. Of course, we're very familiar with Zone 10C, which is District 330, covering Northern and Central Peninsular Malaysia, and District 3310, which covers Southern Peninsular Malaysia, East Malaysia, Singapore, and Brunei. Shyanmei previously worked at RTI International as part of the Chinese language panel, doing extensive linguistic and cultural work in preparation for the 2020 US Census. Prior to RTI International, Shyanmei worked at the Shirley Center for Advancing Learning and Teaching at Northwestern University, where she supported the graduate and faculty programs. She is an alumnus of Northwestern University, where she earned her Master's of Science in Education, Higher Education Administration, and Social Policy degree. She has also a Master's of Art degree in Teaching English to speakers of other languages from University of Illinois in Chicago. Shyanmei originates from Taiwan and has extensive international experience. She has lived and worked in Thailand, Hong Kong, and Taiwan, and is fluent in both English and Mandarin. Dear fellow Rotarians and friends of Rotary, please join us to welcome Shyanmei.
Thank you all, and good evening, and it's morning for me, and I'm very honored to be invited to your joint grant seminar. And first of all, I have to say that I'm sorry I cannot do the virtual background that Shahul sent to me. And in the beginning, you talked about cost effective. This is what the foundation is doing. My computer is so old that I cannot do anything else. But with our limited resources, with our good resources, I'm here to, and I hope to provide the best service for all of the Rotarians. And like you said that right now it's 10 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning, but Rotarians actually around the world work 24/7. That was my experience when I was in Taiwan. I was in Taiwan for a year, 2 weeks ago. I just got back, and I thought being the same time zone will save me some time of my work hour. Actually, but I told my manager actually I ended up working 24/7 because Rotarians only have time. Rotarians are volunteers, so you only have time after your day job. So I ended up working long hours. I'm not complaining because this shows how dedicated our Rotarians are, and I'm very proud to be with you. And thank you for the introduction. And like I said, I'm gonna share, before I share my slides, I have to say that I only took over 3,300 and 3,310 recently, and also China and Hong Kong. In the past 2 years, I mainly work with Taiwan 12 districts. As you know, they are very active, and recently I just took over. So I have a lot to learn from your district, and my background is language and linguistics. So I really focus on not just language, but a culture. So I'm learning culture because I think the learning culture will help me understand the application coming from your district. So if again, I'm here to learn, and I'm very honored to be invited by Shahul. I don't know what he did to get me working with your districts, because 2 years ago when he said that, I said there's no way. I'm too busy. But and today, looking at the agenda, actually, I shared with my teammate. I said, can you look at this agenda? I'm very impressive. I'm very impressed because I think the organizers really put the key questions on the agenda. And I hope, again, I can help you, I think, demystify the application process. And the organizer, if you could remind me of my time, because I, as a teacher, sometimes, your teacher just wouldn't let you go. I hope, so please remind me anytime if I need to stop. So here, I'm gonna share my my slide with you. And okay, here. And the tech person, please help me. As you know, I'm not very good in tech. So can you see my slide here? Yeah, okay. So as organizers introduced, so I'm region 2 grants officer, and my region actually covers my region actually covers Taiwan and all the districts that you can see on my slides right now, and also Japan, Korea, Philippines, the US, and Australia, and all the islands. So my district alone covers 200, almost 260 districts. It's very busy districts. And then we talked about the global grant applications, and I heard a lot of not complaints, but your thought about global grant application. And I have to say that I have two master's degrees, and sometimes I found that our global grant application can be daunting. However, I hope to let you know and also kind of explain the spirit of the global grant. And keep in mind, today is not the only time. I'm here to help. So anything that we cannot cover today, please feel free to reach out to me, to your DRFC, to your DGSC. I'm always here. And global grant application, it's to understand everything. You have to understand the whole terms, conditions, and policy statements. And I always said that the role of RGO, Regional Grant Officer, my job is to explain the terms, condition, and the rules that put forward by trustees. So my role is not to review and approve or decline. Okay, I think I rather see that as my end job. My preparation job with the Rotarians, I rather see that I do a lot of training and then coaching before you put you submit the application, because to put a submit application online takes a lot of time. Okay, so and I really don't want to, and I always said that I don't want to break your heart after you spend all the time and effort. I rather spend more time in the beginning coaching, and we really talk about the nuance. And again, I have to thank for all the DGSCs and DRFCs to spend a lot of time for me in the front to help me kind of vet some applications. And my experience with Taiwan has been very good. And I know sometimes club members who are mad at DGSCs. They said, why did you decline why did you not accept my my application? And I have to say that if they don't do their job, your application comes in, I will have to do my job. So depends on where you want to break your heart. Okay. All right. Next. So we talk about in the beginning, and then I said, we want to do a lot of coach and we want to do a lot of training in the beginning. And so before you submit, actually, I have to say, before you start a project, what is important? Okay. And we talked about, and then you all know that community assessment, it's requirement. Okay, it has been requirement since 2018. And why do we make it requirement? And I would like you to think about community assessment not as a requirement, but an exercise and thinking thought process for all of you before you start a project. So Rotary Foundation will like Rotarians to do project within your community, because this is where you live, you work, you know the best. Okay, and that's why we have a host club or host district idea, because this is, again, we would like to have the thorough information, understanding of your community. Okay, and so what do we do in there? So in the community assessment, we would like to make it relevant, make it real to you and to your community member. So in this sense, we are not talking to for example, if you are doing the Bell project, the education project, we are not talking about you talking to the principals only. Because we all know if you want to do a project in the school, the teachers are very important too. The students are very important too. The parents are important too. So we would like you to talk to more than at least 2 stakeholders. Okay, not just a higher level leaders, but everybody who have a say in this project. And I could give you an example that there was a project recently done in Taiwan. It was a Bell project, and the sponsors talked to the principals, and all the principals liked the project. They want to do the project. However, in the end, one school, the teachers didn't want to do it. The principal want to do it. They really, because principal want to get the equipment, want to get the training for his teachers, but the teachers didn't want to participate. Okay, so the project failed. All right, so that says how important the importance of make sure that you have every stakeholder participate in your community assessment, and that will also help with the ownership. Okay, so these are the ways that you can do your community assessment. You can do the meetings, you can do the survey, you can do the interview or focus group or inventory check or community mapping. I really like the word of community mapping, because actually that is, most of the time, it's what I see. When you submit your community assessment, what do I want to see? I want to understand the community, because I don't live there. You do. Okay, so the grants officer really relies on the sponsors, Rotarians, you to tell me the stories. what do I want to see? I don't want to just the numbers. So sometimes I got the community assessment result with a survey. For example, I will get a survey of the suicide rate in whole Malaysia. Okay, that's fine. However, it's too far removed. Okay, because I can Google that information online. Okay, right? But I would like to see which village, which community you are doing that your project is going to take place within Malaysia. So like today, actually, when the DGSC in Yao Hua explained, I didn't think about the peninsula of Malaysia. I didn't think about it, right? Because I've never been, well, I've only been to only one place in Malaysia. I don't know about Malaysia. You have to tell me about Malaysia. You have to tell me the village, the community of that your project takes place. Who lives there? Okay, the demographic, women, men, kids, elderlies, and it really anything that matters to your project. Okay, and then you have to tell me the issues of the community. Okay, usually there are a lot. Okay, right, and this is a time for Rotarians to think about. Okay, well, there are several issues in this community. What can I do at this point? As a Rotarian, what can I do? And what can you do really matters to what the villages have, what the communities have. What are they strong with? What's their strength? What is their weakness? Okay, so this is a good exercise for you and the communities to really put together your thinking cap, right? Your resources together and think about what you can do at this moment. Sometimes Rotarians are so passionate that they want to solve every problem in the world. This is good. Step back a little bit. Okay, and just think about what we can do at this moment. Don't get too excited, because sometimes when you get too excited, too passionate, you lose your goal, your vision. And then so sometimes in the application, I see everything in the application, and then I was like, so what exactly you're trying to solve in this community? So I want to see all this strengths, and then and you have to talk about the main issue and the beneficiaries. Okay, who are you trying to help? And I think this question sometimes puts kind of like confused Rotarians, because, for example, let me talk about the recent applications. Okay, so there was a project in Malaysia. Maybe we will talk about it at the end, because the project was unfortunately declined, and I'll explain why. Okay, so the project wanted to, so I said, okay, so it was suicide prevention in Malaysia. Okay, and then it talked about, so I said, who are you going to, who will benefit? And sometimes actually, I'm sorry, there are two projects, very similar project. And the first one was actually approved. The first one was to train the counselors at schools to have the knowledge and skills for suicide prevention. And that was approved. But in the beginning, when I received the community assessment, I look at the beneficiaries. I said, well, who is going to benefit? And the answer was students. Okay, that's right. The end goal is to benefit the students. But sometimes when you think about the project, sometimes we want to know exactly who will be the direct beneficiaries. So in that case, in that project, there will be the teachers, will be the counselors, because they are trainers. Okay, they are the trainees. So because they are the trainees in this project, because we want to train those counselors who will have this knowledge and skills to train, to give more sections, for the students. And in that sense, actually, there is a sustainability. Okay, and because sustainability means that after the grant money ends, the fund money ends, can the community pick it up and run by themselves? So the Rotarian's job is to go into a community, set up a system, train the necessary people, so the community, those people can take what you do right now and continue the projects. So this is called sustainability. Okay, so in global grants, we focus on behavioral change. All right, if your project is to give hardware, okay, setting up a playground, giving computers, okay, that's fine. However, that is only the topical solution. We want to see what behavioral change can benefit, can drive, can result from your hardware donation. Okay, if you want to donate hardware and you like, I don't have time to do all the training, that's fine. Talk to your district governor, do a district grant. Okay, so actually there are several ways you can do projects, big and small. But if you really want to do global grants, you really have to think about how do you measure your success? How do you measure your impact? Okay, and the impact has to be measured. Okay, we cannot just say the students will be happy. Okay, the workers will have confidence. Those are good. I mean, and I always say to the Rotarians that if they are not happy, why do we want to do projects? Right? The happiness, the confidence should be always there. That's given. But how do you make them happy? This how. Your method, it's more important. Okay, it's what we want to see in the global grant. Okay, so the tips to do the community assessments, really keep in mind, remain the open mind. Please don't go to a community and think, oh, you don't have enough library. I mean, you don't have enough books in your library. Let's do a book donation. That's what you think. But maybe the school has different reasons. Okay, they probably don't have librarian to manage the library. If you just give them books, who is going to manage? Who is going to do the check-in and check-out, right? And then you give them books, then what? So sometimes I always said, if like ask yourself, you have books lying around in your house, will your kids read them? Tell me if your kids are one of them, because my kids won't read them until I sit down with them and read to them, right? So really think about this, like, okay, so, and then choose your participants carefully. Like I said, you really want to think about different stakeholders, okay, who will participate in this project, not just the principals, not just the village leaders. They are other people who are in this project. And then really like include the marginalized groups. We talked about that. And consider yourself an outsider. We are outsider, okay? I mean, even though if you live in the community, there is still something that you don't know, okay? Maybe you never go to the library, okay? Maybe you never visit the hospital, or you have drinking water in your house, but the next house doesn't have drinking water. So like really, if you want to do a project, you really have to put your let the people talk, let the stakeholder in the community talk. The final point, it's very important. Please don't promise a project before you make a decision. Please don't make a don't make a promise before you get approval from TRF, because this is terms and condition as well. If you and first of all, if you make a promise and your project is declined, that it's very difficult to talk to the person you're going to help with, okay, because you give them a false hope. Okay, so please don't promise. And second of all, if you make any purchase, if you spend any money on the project before your grant is approved, sorry, we won't pay for it. Okay, so this is very important. Please please don't make any promise. And this happens a lot in Taiwan. Again, I'm going to use Taiwan as my example because I work with them most of the time. And sometimes they will say, oh, I already promised this hospital, we will give them this many machines. And if it doesn't work in within our terms, condition, and our rules, I'm sorry, we can't approve it just because you make a promise. Okay, so I
think we
think
take a break
this.
now, Shyanmei.
Sure, and this is the then end of the first section, right?
Right, that's right.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
Thank you, Shyanmei, for sharing with us the first part of the seminar. Maybe I'll invite DRFC Siti to lead the discussion. PDG Siti.
Let me unmute. Okay, what Shyamin has just shared with us is basically the elements of community assessment exercise, and I think it is so crucial that we take this very seriously. I think that is the first thing, and that's why it's in the first of our topic subject matter today, because a lot of us tend to do projects that we like. We see how we perceive the project to be. But I think with RI's requirement of this community needs assessment, it allows us to assess what our beneficiaries really need. And with the tips that Shyamin has given us, these are the areas that we seriously need to look into so that it can make our project relevant. And at the end of the day, I think it also facilitates the application process in terms of our approval. Shyamin, thank you very much for that part. Anyone has got any particular question that you would like to ask? Because we have one question here. How do you do community assessment for a district-wide environment capacity training projects? I think this is tailored to training. Shyamin, would you like to just share with that? It's on environment. I think that's our new area of focus. Something that we all like to learn too.
Yeah, right. So it's a very good question because the community assessment for environments can look different from other area focus, because like you said, the environmental impact can be big. So sometimes we need the survey. Like I said, like I didn't say that we won't take the survey as results. Survey is a good thing too. It's a good tool. And another thing is for environment area focus, we would like to see that Rotarians working with the professional organizations. Okay, so for example, one came into my mind, it was Greenpeace. Okay, I'm not endorsing any organization. I thought about them because they came to me when I was in Taiwan to ask for donations. So I had a good conversation with them. So one of those organizations, because they have experts. They have experts in their organization. So you could work if you want to do the environment. I will strongly encourage that Rotarians find and work with professional organizations and to get those information. Big survey, or if there's one issue specific to your country, to your region, to your community, that will be a good start to do the community assessment. Did I answer the question? I'm trying to find.
I think perhaps I've also seen that the needs of training in all the application of the grant application, there's also a portion on training. And I think it's also very crucial because when we add training to whatever project, that's where the sustainability comes in. That's where empowering them to eventually be independent of what the initial essence of the project is. So in the application form that we submit, I think there's also the part about training exercise.
Okay.
This is something new, I think, that has been included very recently.
That's a very good question, actually. So the training, again, it's very important. And I'm very happy that he brought this question up because from a trainer, because I trained teachers before, from a trainer point of view, I would like, I don't want to see the training for the training's sake. So sometimes the Rotarians put a training chart there and they say, oh, I did my homework, but then I was like, what are you training on? So for example, like I keep saying the global grants, we want to see the a change of behavior, change in behavior. Okay. So for what do we want to see in the project? For example, if the environment, again, environment is it's very big, so I can only just make something up, okay? So for example, if a region has mudslides, okay, they just happen in Japan, right? The mudslides, the caused by storm or typhoon. What caused the mudslide? Okay, the environment. What was the human's role in this issue? Okay, so the training probably can be, for example, in the one region, if their industry or their people, the community residents, we probably could help them to think about what keeps the mud. For example, we probably could help them thinking about what kind of trees they can grow. Okay, and then so the training can be something like this. Okay, so if environment is too far ahead, let's think about different DPT projects. For example, in Taiwan, we do a lot of hepatitis C grants. Okay, we all know hepatitis C grant, you need to screen, you need to refer some to hospitals, and you need to treat. So what can we see in the training here? We would like the community members, okay, to understand what causes hepatitis C. Okay, so giving the training or like this can change people's behavior. And to make it more sustainable, a lot of time in DPT grants would like to see the training for the medical health professionals. Okay, so if there is a project that you are adding a new machines or new skills to the community, we would like to see the training on this, not just how to operate the machines, but how the medical professionals can benefit from this project, or the community members can benefit from this project, so they will change their behavior. So we won't see these issues happens again. So does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. In fact, I think even to address some of the questions that are there, working with professional bodies to provide the professional training, I think that's also very important, and the engagement with such organizations as our project partners, that will also help in our global grant. I'm sure the application enhanced further, and their training is, we may not be able, we are not trainers basically, but if we were to work with trainers for the specific project, like we have something here on cancer awareness, or working with the refugees or any other communities that we are going to do, I think we need to work with the professionals and getting them on board for statistics, for the training backup. I think that's also very crucial.
Yeah, and then I'm sorry. So may I add one thing? So the training actually goes hand in hand with the community assessment, because in the community assessment you have to provide the current practice in the community, right? So from there we build up the training. Okay, so this is what we want to see. Okay, so just keep it in mind. The training doesn't just drop from the sky. Okay.
So we will carry on with the next session. So before we carry on, let me just share this little community needs assessment video with you.
It takes courage, belief, and strength to change. I'm a passionate midwife and childbirth educator, given an amazing opportunity to be part of an incredible Trans-Tasman team travelling to Mongolia to introduce a national childbirth education course that has saved lives across the Mongolian landscape. Imagine you are pregnant in Mongolia, wanting to keep yourself and your baby healthy and safe, needing to know what's normal and what to expect. You seek that information, but there is nothing available. It took one phone call to a Rotarian in New Zealand by two pregnant ladies in Mongolia, and our course has been conceived. Together with other passionate midwives and a logistics guru, we launched our childbirth education course. At crucial times, the team connected and communicated with major hospitals, universities, health ministries, the rural remote communities of Mongolia, and the government. We created translated manuals, embedded curriculums into universities, identified champions, and providing teaching and resource materials. Over time, we added obstetric emergency training as we identified critical gaps in knowledge. Our team were inspired by Nelson Mandela's wisdom. Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. We took an interactive, experiential learning approach that challenged traditional learning styles. However, this created joy, laughter, empowerment and trust amongst the health professionals and wise community leaders who completed the training. They all said, "Thank you for teaching me a different way to learn." The Mongolian champions are nurturing and guiding it towards sustainability. We know that this childbirth education course significantly contributed to a reduction in mortality and morbidity for mothers and babies by 40 to 60%. Childbirth education has saved lives, it has saved money, and it has empowered the Mongolian communities and its people.
So, we have heard the first part of it, and now let's carry on with the second part of our session. Over to you, Shyanmei, and then perhaps Shahul can then moderate that. Over to you, Shyanmei.
Yes, please go ahead, Shyanmei.
And I saw a lot of questions in the chat, so we will go back to that later. Oops, hold on. Where is my slide? Okay. Okay. Okay, there you go. All right, so the second section actually was how to measure the impact and how to, sorry, I forgot the second one because I broke it down. Shahul, what was the second part? Measurable. Okay, it's sustainability. Okay, sorry. So it's a very, so measurable impact. When I talked about this with my teammate, they said, "Oh, a ruler." So, yeah, how do we measure our impact? And impact, this word, it's very big, right? Because the impact can be intangible, and like I said, how do you measure happiness? Okay, how do you measure confidence? But in global grants, we would like to see how our project make a difference in the community. So I have to say that this usually I know it sounds kind of like inhuman, but we kind of like at the global grant in the reporting, sometimes you want to see, for example, how many people you have trained. Okay, like I said, that the direct beneficiaries of each project, we need to think about that. It's not, I know our end goal is the community members, but sometimes we want to see how you change the community concept. So for example, how many, like in the last video, it talked about the midwife training, right? So how many medical professionals were trained? Okay, how many teachers you were trained? Okay, if you do a wash project, how many households water were improved? So we want to see we want to see more concrete kind of numbers. Okay, but the thing is the bigger the better. Not always. So, and sometimes Rotarians are worried that, oh, well, if my project only trains 10 people, that is not good enough. All right. So we actually don't measure that 10 people because, because like I said, later on, we're going to talk about sustainability. Like I said, the project, the Global Grant project, we would like to see that we go in to set up a system and the community can run with it. Okay, so you train 10 people in the first stage. But you can use the same system to train the second cohort. Okay, right? So then you, in the reporting, you can say, you know, then your project actually it's creating greater impact, right? So, but in the reporting stage, we talk about a little bit reporting now. We would like to see. So for me, I would like to see in the report, you can say, oh, in this project, we set up this system, we train 10 people, and then the community, now they have the knowledge and skills, then they can train the second batch, they can say train the third batch. This is the measurable impact that foundation would like to see. Okay, and now we talk a little bit about reporting, because the impact usually is reported in the reports. And I know today we didn't have the reports in our agenda, but I would like to remind everybody that the application and reporting, they are required. Okay, if you don't submit your reports, then you have overdue, and then your club or district cannot do more grants. Okay, so you've got to fulfill this requirement. Second of all, the reports really it's not just for, it's not homework. Okay, as a grants officer, I approve a grant, I would like to see what happened. Okay, so a lot of time that I know that right now our report template or only ask you to submit bank statement. Of course, that I would like to see. I need to see the bank statement. And you fill in all the questions, but I always push further. And I hope that you are willing to work with me, because I push my Taiwanese Rotarians very far and very strict on them. For example, if they submit a report that has bank statement, they report how many people, the equipment or whatever they donated. In the past, we will let it go, but now I send it back. I said I would like to see exactly how your project make an impact. So, for example, there was a very good report example that I always use in my case study. So you all know AED machine, right? The AED machine is for your heart, it compress. And so you will think that what is impact for AED machines? The hospital tells you that they are lack of AED machines. Therefore, I donate. Okay. But then I told the Rotarians in Taiwan, like, okay, why did you need? Okay, so I understand that the hospital needs it. Who doesn't need it? If you do needs assessment, you ask you go out to ask anybody, do you want a car? Of course. Do you want these machines? Of course, right? Who will say no to your question? However, why? Okay, so in the community assessment, you tell me, oh, because they are in this community, how many people tend to have heart issues and they don't have enough machines in this community. Therefore, we are purchasing these machines for this hospital. And then on that, we do the health wellness campaign with the local, with the community members, like, okay, how do you take care of your heart, right? And then from Rotarians, I want to see all of that. And also they will have to report that. So how many situations that you, how many times the machines were used, how many lives were saved. Okay, so this is a full cycle, right? They talk about the issues in the community. They talk about how the machines were used and how they were solved lives. And believe me, I don't want to see big number of how many lives were saved, because it means a lot of issues, right? I don't want to see death, okay? But it shows how we, so for example, if a community, they say, oh, we donated 10 ADs and we saved 3 lives. 3 lives are 3 lives, okay? That's the impact of your project. That is a full cycle report. That is something I would like to see. Okay, and I hope that we can work towards this quality reported as well. So think about your application and reporting hand in hand, because this is what we want to see with all our Rotary projects. And this also helps you to tell a good story. Okay, yesterday so to be honest, I'm very stressed and tired this couple of days because I have another presentation tonight, another presentation tomorrow for China. So I was talking with them and they said, I was very excited about talking about global grants. Said, oh, Shyanmei, which club do you belong to? I'm sorry, I'm not Rotarian yet. I'm still thinking, but they said, I said, why do you want me to be your Rotarian? Why do you want me to be your club? And he said, well, because you tell very good stories. You are so excited about global grants, and you are not even Rotarians. I said, yeah, because I believe I do a good job. And you know what? When I'm telling what I do for Rotary, people like non-Rotarians actually they finally understand what Rotary is doing. A lot of time, even in Evanston, I live in Evanston where the headquarters is. Believe me, a lot of people don't even know Rotary is there. They drive by the building all the time. They don't even know that's Rotary. They don't know what Rotary is doing. So our job is to tell story, okay, to tell the communities what we do. And it's not just our will, okay, or how much money we donate. We all know that, but how does our money make an impact in the community? So by doing the reports and tell the story about your project. So if your storytelling stops at donation, the community members actually don't feel much. But if you said, oh, our machine saved this how many lives, that was strike a chord in their heart. Okay, so how to tell a story, how to tell a memorable story, it's by way of doing reports. So it's not the better, it's not the bigger, the better. Okay, it's the quality of your project. And now we move on to sustainability. So I mentioned many times in my earlier, sustainability for Rotary, we have a different definition. It means that we provide a long-term solution to communities, and then they can maintain this system after our money ends. So if you say, I always said that after, say, for example, you had 30,000 grants, and I said, okay, so what are you going to do after you finish this community economics grant? And they will say, oh, our club will buy their products. Our club, I will ask all our Rotarians to buy their products, or I will ask our district, keep supporting them. No. We don't do that, because then, well, of course, I understand Rotarians want to, keep working with them. But by doing that, the community will come back to you, ask for money year after year. Okay, that's not what we want to do. So it's very interesting in Taiwan, because I did a lot of presentations and I evolve also. So they said, first of all, when you said that long sustainability, then they will say, oh, it's not to just give them fish. You need to give them, the pole to fish, to fish, right? And I said, okay. And then after one presentation, they said, oh, okay, it's not just giving the pole. You have to teach them how to fish, right? You give them the equipment. You need to teach them how to use. And then when I talked about that, and next presentation, they said, well, that's not enough. You teach them how to fish. You have to teach them how to sell the fish. Okay, so right. I mean, think about this. We are there. The projects is to fill up the knowledge and skill gap, and they have the equipment that we donate. They have the training. We teach them how to fish. They also know how to use this training to make their community move forward. How to sell the fish. Okay, so from there, you can think about a lot of projects. So that's why I said I learned from Rotarians. Okay, and then sustainability, you can start with the community. Like I said, you always talk with the community. Like you cannot just drop into the community and tell them, oh, this is what you need. Okay, there's another example that in Taiwan, it was very famous. So by the way, in Taiwan, they use failed examples to do their case studies. There was one district, their DGSC. The reason he became a DGSC was because his grant was declined. Okay, and he learned from it, and now he talked about his failed project. Okay, and it is how they learn. I really admire their courage. But there was one example that a Rotary Club, they felt that they donate a lot of vehicles that with the bathing equipment in the car. You know, like, because some people they are sick, or they cannot bathe themselves. They had to go to the hospital. That's a lot of work. So the project is to provide those kind of vehicles with the bathing equipment on the car, so they can go in to the community to help people injured, or the elderly to bath. It's a good project, right? Okay, so the Rotarians thought about this, and they identify 1 hospitals to donate. Okay, and it was very good. They purchased it, donated, and guess what happened? The hospital didn't have money to maintain to buy the oil, the fuel, the gas. Okay, and they don't have enough people they don't have a driver. They don't have money to provide a driver, right? So the car sat in the parking lot, was not used. Nobody benefited. Okay, and so yes, we have good hearts. We want to help these hospitals, but do we ask if they can take it? Okay, so the community says, again, you need to work with the community, because you need to know what their strengths are, their weaknesses are. Do they have a capacity to maintain this project? And another example, it's actually happened in, I didn't hear the story from my Rotarians, but from my friend who grew up in, oh my gosh, what is the country? I can't, it's northern Thailand, Myanmar. Okay, so she grew up there, and she said, so I talked about my job a lot with my friends, and she said, yeah, when I grew up there, there's one Japanese company who saw that we didn't have enough water or clean water, so they came in to build a water tower for us. Okay, guess what? They didn't have electricity to run to make sure that the water tower runs, and they didn't have enough infrastructure to build the pipe between the water tower to their house. So the water tower, it's beautiful. It's beautifully built. What's beautifully built, sitting there, was no use. And for the community, they have to spend money to remove it too. Okay, so this is very important, that we really need to start with the community, ask what they have, what their strengths are, and align with their local value and culture. We need to be very sensitive with what the local community has. You cannot just say, oh, we believe in this religion, we believe in this idea, and I'm going to teach you how to do it. Another example is I lived in Thailand for a couple of years, and then we have a help. At that time, I had a help to help our house with chores, and her husband sold fruits on the street, but he probably worked like whenever he wanted to. And so, being a feminist, I told my helper that you need to go home and tell your husband to work. It was a big no-no, because I didn't understand the local culture. And my friend told me that I could have gotten beaten by her husband. Okay, and it was one example that I learned a lot. I learned that until you understand the local culture and commit the value, don't butt in. Don't give any unnecessary, unwanted advice. Okay, so another sustainability step is like local ownership. When you talk with the members, the stakeholders, they feel like they own it. Okay, it's not it's not like you give to them. It's not a charity. Okay, it's the service projects the Rotarians do with them together. Okay, so they feel they own it, and then later on they will maintain it. They will participate and maintain it. And then provide training. We talked about this. This is a change of mind, change of behavior. And then buy local. This is very important too. We always said that, especially the equipment, and we would like to encourage the project to buy from local, because if something breaks, if you have to wait for the parts come from US, from Japan, like, and then maybe it doesn't work. So we would like to this way it's easier to maintain on the local level. And then we find local funding. I said, if you work with any community organizations, by pushing in the ownership, you will like the communication to put in some their funds or their efforts as well. So it becomes a joint project. It's not just we hand it over to the organizations. And then make sure your process success. So like I said, that you need to, from the beginning, from you design your project, you need to think about what exactly you want to see achieve and how you're going to measure, how you're going to report in your report. And to collect your data, actually, yesterday we had a very good conversation with our cohort, our team. What do you mean by data? Okay, data actually, numbers can be data. The drawing can be data. For example, if you are doing the wash project, water project, we want to see the drawing of the area. Okay, so if you are building towers, we want to see the difference in altitude, right? Because if your water source is right here and then you build a tower like this high, then it's not going to work. So we want to see the drawing. That maps helps. How about pictures? How about photos? Do you think photos help too? And what kind of photos? So in some community assessment, I saw oftentimes I received pictures of Rotarians meeting the stakeholders, meeting the community, the village leaders or principals. Thank you, but we don't need to see that. Because I mean, like from the pictures, I don't know. I don't know what you talked about. I only see 2 people, 3 people in the picture. It doesn't tell me much. And besides that, we have a privacy policy at Rotary that we cannot see the face. Okay, we don't even. I'd love to see our Rotarians, but we don't need your pictures, your face on the in our file, because that then I have to make sure that I can use your photo, blah, blah, blah. So please, if you think that your photos doesn't really help with your project, then don't submit it, especially with children, okay? If you submit the children's picture, we have to delete from our system. Okay, so to save your time, to save our time, photos, please don't worry about photo, but drawings. And if you want to say, sometimes if you really want to show us your work, you can take a picture from far distance. Okay, show how many people participate, that's fine. But anyway, so data means the relevant information, current situation of the community and what has changed, okay, because of your project. And that's how we mean by that. So I guess next is, hold on.
Thank you very much, Shyanmei.
Yeah.
We'll give you a couple moments to catch your breath. As a follow-up question, how about videos? Would you accept videos? There's a question in the chat group asking whether videos would be acceptable. What are your views?
Well, like I said, so what does the video do for the projects? So what is the purpose of you sending videos? So think about that. If your video is to, again, like if your video is to really show that, for example, this village, the landscape or something like that, that's fine, okay. But if you are showing video of happy Rotarians getting together, I don't see how that will benefit from the project. So that, just think about the purpose of your submission. Okay, what do you want to achieve with your submission?
Now, Shyanmei, just to summarize the first 2 topics, if the community assessment is done very, very well, do you think we are able to find out what impacts are measurable and what are the sustainability factors that is possible in the community?
Yes, so that's why we, community assessment is right there. It's requirement because from the community assessment, it's easy for you to set your goal, right? So the community assessment is for you to collect all the information in, and then from there you tease out what you need to do, what you can do, what the community can do, what you want to achieve, how can we make it sustained. So yes, community assessment, I have to say, is the first and foremost. And think about the community assessment, it's a long process. It's not just one time. We have templates. Yes, I think earlier somebody asked if we have a template. Yes, we do have a template, but a template shouldn't be a homework or checklist for you. It should be a thought process for you when you design a project, even before you start. Yeah. So I hope that answered your question.
Coming back to the community assessment, there's a question. There's several questions asking what is the relevant sample size? Is that important? Is that critical? We have a critical number of people responding to a survey, for example, before decisions can be made for the community. What are your views?
No, there is no, I would say that there is no set number or relevant number, relevant number. I would say again, what does your number matter? Okay, what are you trying to achieve by presenting this number? So if you want to present the survey of the whole country, that's fine. But eventually you need to come down to your community. So I cannot say, and depends, right? Like if you are doing a project with one school, that your number is smaller. If you are doing with 10 schools, that it's different. So that's why sometimes I would say sometimes don't aim it too high, because if you want to do a project with 20 schools, then we will ask for 20 community assessments. Yeah. And I'm not saying that it can be done. It just it just takes time. Okay. Because and again, I don't want to see I'm sorry. I feel like I said that I don't want to. It's like in a very authoritative. I'm just trying to say that if I see spreadsheets and say, oh, A, school B have this number, blah, 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 that's fine. But I still like to see the current situation, because every school is different. Every school will have different issues. Okay. And then what is the root cause? So anyway, so in the community assessment, again, I cannot give you like a set number. Okay, I can only tell you that the story, the more detailed story you tell, the better I understand the better for you to design, and also for me to understand what is going on with the community. Yeah, but don't send me like 20 pages. Okay, I mean you need to summarize. So for example, like for WASH project, we always ask for a water quality tests result in the beginning, because if the water is fine, why are you doing this project, right? So sometimes the Rotarian will send me like a booklet or water quality report. Please don't do that. Because that was your exercise, but you can summarize it for us, for a grants officer. I mean, actually, this is my plea to you, because we review so many grants, and if we have to tease out that one piece of information from 20 pages booklet, in the end, I will lose. I will like, what is going on with this project? What is the point, right? So when you submit your documents, think carefully. What does your project document want to achieve?
Can I just explore with you about what you said about working with multiple communities at the same time? The DRFC of District 3420 Indonesia is with us, PDG Alpurwa. And I think the challenge is sometimes to do a project that can benefit multiple communities at the same time. For example, a toilet project that can benefit, let's say, 10 communities at the same time. Sometimes it gets very challenging to actually do a community assessment on all the 10 communities when the first few will show that the results that you get, as far as the need for the toilets and the benefits that you will bring to the community, fairly identical. What are your views on that?
Okay. So you brought in this. They might be identical, but again, each community has their own issues. For example, so yes, you when you say identical, what do you mean by identical? Like which part?
Well, there's a problem with children not attending schools because of waterborne diseases. There's a need of to improve sanitation. Infections are happening all over the place because of open defecation. This kind of questions that we ask, we get all the same answers. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do on all the 10, but sometimes when you work on 10 communities, the grant sponsors get a little bit frustrated having to go through all the process, time-consuming process, when the results after the first few are fairly identical. I mean, I'm just bringing forward a scenario, that's all.
Right. So the identical need is lack of toilet facility, right? But then each community have different population, correct? Different gender, different number of gender, correct? So then you need to build different toilets facility for them. Recently, I actually reviewed one that they want to address the issue for girls' bathroom. Okay, but then in the community assessment, they talk about they only they gave me the number of the boys and girls, and then but in the project design, there's only one bathroom, one toilet facility for each school. So my question is, how are you going to guarantee the safety for girls for going to the bathroom? Okay, and then sorry, that's a bit out of not really addressing your question, but each community has different ratio for the gender. Okay, so for the gender differences, that need to be addressed, right? Each community might have their strengths or of maintaining the facility. One community might have for example, the waste management already. The other one doesn't. Okay, so again, we just want to know about the communities before you put in that equipment or facility for them. We would like to understand how the community can maintain them. So yes, the identical need is the lack of the sanitation equipment. But again, each community have their different needs. And also the hygiene training, going to the bathroom. There's a lot of training going there for the users. And for example, in Taiwan, they always say, "Oh, you want to teach them how to wash hands." They all know that, but each community have different leaders. They might do something different already. So again, the community assessment really is to get the basic understanding of a current situation. So we can each community can we'll give the community what they need and what they can maintain. Okay. Otherwise, if we just handing them over the facility, the equipment, the hardware, we don't know what is going to happen and if it's addressing their needs. And I understand it's frustrating at times, but please understand the importance of why we are asking for it, or we can do smaller projects, one at a time. It's okay. We cannot solve the problem in the world overnight.
Right, okay, thank you very much. I think we are running a little bit behind time. Siti, shall we continue with the program?
I'm sorry, okay.
There are some 8 million species on the planet, and about 1 million of them are endangered of going extinct within the next 30 years, primarily due to the illicit wildlife trade industry as well as the loss of habitat. The Sumatran or the Bornean orangutan and the pygmy elephants are critically endangered, and when they're gone, they're gone. My name is Tom Tochterman, and I am the chair of Rotary Action Group for Endangered Species. The African elephant, there is one elephant essentially dying every 15 minutes, primarily due to poaching and poisoning. The Amur leopard is critically endangered. The African black rhino is in a similar situation. The African white rhino is in a little bit better condition. I got involved with RAGES as a Rotarian, being concerned about this issue. I formed a nonprofit organization called Rhino Mercy.
Hello, we are the Black Mambas Anti-Poaching Unit.
It's Oscar One patrolling the Mica side fence.
We have established the first all-female anti-poaching unit called the Black Mamba Anti-Poaching Unit in South Africa, and they're on patrol as we speak in the Greater Kruger National Park.
So this is the evidence of the poachers.
Being involved in a Rotary Action Group is a great thing. If you're passionate about a specific issue, you can join one of the existing action groups, or you can create your own. There's just no limit to the things that you can do.
The reason why I started an action group was because I discovered that there was slavery in the United Kingdom, slavery in the United States, and millions of slaves in India. Ashraf was the very first survivor that I met, and I was shocked by his treatment. There's 40.3 million people estimated to be in slavery worldwide. 25% of that number are children. And even in Great Britain, you got something like 136,000 people living in modern slavery. So something had to be done. And I thought the best thing to do was to form an action group of Rotarians. My definition of a slave is someone who is forced to work, who's unpaid, unable to leave, and who's controlled by violence or the threat of violence. For these people, their free will is taken away. Their labor, their lives, and their minds are consumed by someone else's greed. We need to raise awareness of the issue of modern slavery and human trafficking in order to increase the number of people who care.
Okay, so here we go. Let's do a quick poll too for our next session. And the questions are you interested in applying for a global grant after you have heard Shyanmei's 2 session? Bernard, would you just like to run that very quickly before we go into? Here you go. Just very quickly answer those questions and so give us an idea of those who are present here. Okay, so here you go. So we at least have quite a high percentage of members, Rotarians here who would like to, who has a global grant proposal. Yes, we are open for it and looking for partners. And I'm again, like Shahul said, we see 0 with not interested. So that's very, very good because at least we know that everyone here has got the same way forward of looking at our grants. So let's move on and Shyanmei, over to you for your next session, yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, this section I feel like probably you can do better than I do, because finding partners or MOUs and budget and funding, the do's and don'ts. I will say what I see, but then I think maybe you can help me with this. So the partners, first of all, I think that we hear a lot of comments on Rotarians in the field, like it's so difficult to find partners. But I think today you have shown a great example here. It's a joint training section, and I've seen, I saw that other districts were joined as well. So I don't know how many districts are here, but this is where you meet friends. Okay, and then attending conference, institutes, and convention. I understand that's very difficult this year. It's a way as well, and also there is a showcase on on our website that it's you can put your showcase your project and things like that. And sometimes when people see it, that they can join you. So finding partners, actually, this I don't really have many tips for you. The MOUs, the MOUs, actually, we have first of all, we have updated MOU on our website. Please use the updated one. I think it was the newest one was November 2020. So sometimes I understand how difficult it is to get all the signatures. So when I see an outdated one, I seriously, I have to like, I ask myself, do you want, I feel sorry for Rotarians, just put it away. So anyway, before you submit any forms or use any forms, we have that, we have all the forms available on our website. And honestly, you are lucky because you know what? Chinese is not official language. So it's not online, it's not on our website. So I have to do very low tech. When the Rotarians in Taiwan ask me for it, I have sent it, by email. So English ones, it's online, please use it. And the budget and funding, actually, this is what I see. Okay, so when RGO sees an application, first we look at the overview, understand what your project is about. And then we look at your community assessment, okay? Because then from your community assessment, it's where I get most of information. And then we look at your budget, because the budget, it's how you're going to do it. It's your method. So then we will, from the budget, we say, okay, well, the budget, the equipment, or the training, the training usually it's good, but then I have to see the training charts. But the budget, I would say, well, why are you buying this equipment for the things that you didn't even address from your community assessment? Okay, so everything has to be cohesive. It's not just that you put everything you want in your budget. You need to think about why. Okay, and then the training and the one common issue that I saw in the projects in Taiwan, I don't know about your other districts or a different country. Again, I'm learning from you, is that the training costs usually is very low. Okay, in Taiwan it's very low, and so sometimes the training budget is like very little. And in the past, I made a mistake of determining that it's not strong, but then I understand the training costs, it's pretty low in some countries. Okay, so if that is the case, or if your government will pay, if the government will pay for it, please write it out in the application. Otherwise, I will misunderstand that you don't do training. Okay, so again, if just in the application, tell us what all of that. The funding, I think that we have a rule that the international partner needs to have 15%, and this, I think maybe we can hand over to the more knowledgeable people in the group. I know how to spend money. I know how to teach you how to spend your money. I don't know how to raise money.
Shyanmei, maybe the objective of this part is to actually, for you to share with us, are there any items in the budget that you would discourage Rotarians from putting in for the global grant budget? For example, if excessive money is budgeted for publicity, for example, or for foreign currency exchange, for example, is there a limit to do that? Because recently the Rotary Club in Singapore did a global grant for $133,000. So the currency exchange changed dramatically from the time of application to the time we received the funds.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, actually, this part, it's in the terms and condition. So that's why I feel like, well, why do you want to ask me? Because you are supposed to read terms and condition. But that's okay. Let me talk about this. Every project is allowed 10%, 10%, 10% for 10% for contingency. Okay, so don't forget about contingency, 10% of your total budget. Put in there, because contingency, it's, sometimes you put estimates, right, on your things that you want to buy, but then later on, there might be some difference, right? So the contingency is covered. It's to cover those unexpected expenses, including the currency exchange. Yeah, I have seen that happen a lot in other districts as well. So put the 10% in there. And another 10% is for the project management, because we understand that Rotarians probably cannot be in the village or in the community all the time to monitor, right? So, or to make sure that the project carry out. So there will be 10% total budget in the budget that it's allowed you to hire professional project manager to help you carry out. Same thing, 10% can be used to, can be budgeted to hire professional monitoring and person to measure your project. Okay, so you have 10% allowance to do that. And then what else? What don't I want to see? Okay, so again, it's all in terms of condition, but the PR, okay, so the public relations, sometimes it's hard to decide because I need to see the items. Okay, so one thing for sure is right now we have we raised the limit from $500 US dollars to 1,000 that you can make your signature, the signs, your signature. I mean the signature. 10,000 now. You can do that. The signs and the things like that. But the PR, how much can you do and what it's allowed really depends on what you use. So I would say that keep in mind that think about what the PR is for. It's if you are doing the promotion of this project, okay, because you need to go to the village or community, tell them that you are running this project, you are asking them to participate, then that's fine. Okay, that's actually kind of operational costs because you need to get them out. And even though, like, for example, some projects you want to encourage people to come out to do a testing or, you know, like hepatitis C test. Sometimes you need to buy some little gifts as incentive. That's fine. You just need to provide details for me. But if the public relations is to promote your own club or your own district or Rotary, like how good we are, no. Okay, because we don't do that. We don't need to do that. So again, think about what your money is going to spend on. If that is relevant to your project's your project implementation, that it's allowed. So in the budget, you don't have to give me like 20 items, okay, all the details. But think about the ideal budget, I guess, in the application I would like to see is like operation, for example, operation, what else? I can't remember all the categories, but by categories. But if your category encompass a lot of things, then you can provide a separate list, like, you know, in this 10 equipments, we are buying this and this, something like that. So then I kind of know what you are trying to do. Like recently, sometimes when I see one item that it's like, what exactly are you trying to buy? You know, so trying to do. So again, use your best judgment. And all of you are successful people. I mean, successful businessmen or doctors or lawyers or important community members in the society. I mean, like sometimes I ask my Rotarians to think about when you run a business or when you receive a proposal, what do you want to see? Okay, or think about you as a parent. When your child asks you for 10,000 US dollars, what do you want to see from your child? You know, if you're like, okay, you want 10,000, I'll give you 10,000. I want to be your child too, but I'm sure that you will ask him why you are doing that, you know, the items, you know, how are you going to do it? And once you spend it, what are you going to see? So think about that, okay? So submitting application is not just for me, it's for you as well. So we work together, okay? So if there's a don't and do's, I don't want to give you like definitely, you know, like, you know, 10 items or 20 items, but think about what matters, okay? What matters to this project, okay? And so yeah, so resources, finding partners. I did some options there, but I'm sure you have more resources. Maybe you can, if we have time, maybe you're going to share with other districts.
Yeah, Shyanmei, just a related question. As you know, the COVID-19 pandemic is hitting Southeast Asia very badly at this current moment. So what kind of items can be included in the budget if clubs are considering doing COVID-19 vaccination global grant projects?
Okay, so number one, no is you cannot buy vaccines. Shahul already asked me this question, and also Taiwan. You cannot buy vaccines because purchase vaccine to buy vaccine. It's a very complicated matter. It actually involves with the government, and all the safety issues, all the EUA. I feel like I'm so equipped with all the terms now because I'm learning so much about vaccine situation in Taiwan. So I'm learning about what is EUA, what is the government's role, what is, why you can do things like that. It's very complicated. And I think that Rotary doesn't want to be, we don't want to put Rotarians into a very difficult situation. Okay, so purchasing vaccine don't. However, when the government purchases the vaccines, the government has the vaccines, what are you going to do to administrate the vaccine, right? So that part we can help to set up tents, to set up the facilities, to help with the cold link, to storage that it's allowed. Or recently, somebody asked me if they need the very tiny skinny needles, so you can extract more fluid from a bottle of vaccine. Okay, those things we can, because we are assisting the government to carry out their mission. So those you can do it, or the screening, the PCR screening or whatever screening that you have. I think this is not going to go away anytime soon. So anything about that you can do, or the oxygen equipment in India, like recently we received a lot, the oxygen situation, you can do that. Or what else? So, if it's only for COVID, that those align, sometimes you can throw in some consumable stuff, like the protection PPEs or masks in the past. Now we don't see masks that often. PPEs, you can put some of that in there, but those are like consumable, that you use, you dispose. So we don't really want to see most of the money going there in global grants. So in global grants, we going forward, we still need to kind of see the community assessment. And in this case, in COVID, we would need to see the request later from the hospital. Okay, from the hospital you are working with, exactly what they are doing. And then we want to make sure they can maintain the equipment. And oxygen, I understand, is a bit different situation. So no, not to do is vaccine purchasing, you cannot do it. And the consumable only grant, we don't do it. And then what else? I can't think about anything right now, but
what oxygen cylinders?
Oxygen, it's fine. Yeah.
Oxygen cylinders.
Cylinders. I'm sorry, what's that?
See, in India, when the COVID Delta variant hits them, the problem was that the hospitals cannot generate oxygen.
Okay.
I think in other places, for example, in Indonesia, the hospitals already have the capacity to generate oxygen. They have an oxygen plant. But what happens is that they need these empty tanks that can be refilled so that the patients can use them, can use the oxygen from those tanks through a special metered flow.
So that can be reused.
Yes, it can be reused.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the tanks cost about, right now, the market price is about $300, $400 each. And I think there's a big demand in Indonesia, especially, and Rotary in Singapore is also looking at see how we can assist.
To be honest, I haven't.
Offline, I'll discuss with you separately on this.
Yeah. But to be honest, I sometimes, like we RGOs learn from on the job as well. So I need to, because I haven't had experience on that, I cannot tell you yes or no. I think it's yes, but I just need to understand the protocols, because there might be some medication, like some might be technical issue involved. I just need to double check with the manager, but I think that should be okay. Yeah.
Right.
Shahul, you want to proceed, Shyanmei, to proceed with the next slide straight away? No?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so understand the approval process. Oh,
Shyanmei, just hold on for a while. I think we have another poll coming up.
After this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Shyanmei, you can carry on with this. We have the poll after this.
Okay.
Okay.
After this. Okay, so this part, I think that it's probably the part that you're most interested. And so how to best handle additional queries from the grants officer, and then if in the case the application has been declined. This is the most I feel like, I feel hot right now. Okay, so first of all, please remember, I'm not your enemy, I'm your friend. Okay, and like I explained in the beginning, my job is not just to review or to approve or decline. I would rather think that it's the very least a part of my job. My job is to help coach, train, and help you design a successful project within the guidelines that trustees put forward. Okay, so everything I do is not my sole decision. So I kind of like, I can give you the very quick a run or a picture of how we perceive what happens when you hit the submit on your computer. Okay, I don't have the slides right now, but I like to sometimes I like to put a picture for my Taiwanese Rotarians so they know I'm not the only person there. So basically, after you hit your application, and again, before you hit the button, please talk with your district grants team or consult with me. Okay, so let's work together before you hit the button. After you hit the button, that we have a coordinator who receives all the grants from the world, and this coordinator will assign to the grants to the person in charge. So like I told you earlier, I charge all the districts. Sometimes I help with our colleagues. For example, recently I helped with some projects in India or Bangladesh, because the district, the region has a lot of applications. So sometimes we help out. So sometimes if you are from different district, you will see my name. Okay, so then then your application shows up in my queue and we review it according to it submits. And so we have a lot of grants. Okay, usually we have like at least 10, 20, 30 grants in our queue, and all of them needs our attention. So please be patient with us if we don't review grants right away or answer to your emails right away. But I think I did a pretty good job with responding with the emails. But please be patient with us. Our load is very high. And then when we review, we would have a lot of checklists for ourselves. We check and whatever. And then if the first reviewer feels like that's okay, or if I have any questions, I send a checklist to you. And sometimes Rotarians ask how long it takes to approve a grant. Okay, it really depends on how fast how much we work with each other. Because if I send you a checklist and it takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month to reply, then it comes to back to my queue, and you have to wait your turn for me to review your checklists. Okay, so if you could send me back the answer to the checklist as soon as possible, that's great. But please don't send it overnight. For example, if I ask you please give me more information on something, and then you suddenly send me a lot of information overnight. Well, it could be that you forgot to attach it the first time. So sometimes it's like, where did you, like, it's a magic. Like, where did you get this information? If you receive our checklist, really think about our questions, okay? You don't have to tell me that, yes, I received your checklists, and I'll answer you later, okay? Because we have so many emails, and I go after when we search, we'll search your grant number, and then I will look at all the email chain, and I was like, okay, did she answer me yet or not? And anyway, it's a lot of work. Okay, so and then finally I find your emails. Oh, this person hasn't responded to anything yet. So please read our checklist and then answer, try your best to answer all the questions. If you don't understand, let me know. And if you see a long list of checklists, please don't be put off. Please don't be scared. I mean, those are the questions that we don't understand. The checklist is not to question your heart, okay? The checklist is, we don't understand. I don't understand the situation. So please don't be scared when you receive our checklists, okay, first of all. And so when I send out checklist, I receive the replies from you, and I respond, we work together. And then if the application is complete, I send it to the secondary reviewer. And this secondary reviewer, it's okay, then I will send out the approval later, and then this payment process. However, if I have any question about your application, maybe it's lack of sustainability, maybe it's lack of maybe it's not fit in area focus, okay, then there's no go, and I have to check with we have managers for each area focus. Okay, so like I said, I'm a teacher. I'm not medical professional. I don't know everything about medical field. So I have to consult with my manager. Okay, so we have manager experts to help us to decide. If we both feel that this application is no go, guess what? We have to go to a meeting with the whole department. So every Thursday night, every Thursday morning in Chicago time, we have this meeting with the whole group or the whole grants office. We debate, we discuss, and make sure that it's if we feel like, oh, it's not, we should decline, we should do something and something like that, then we will decide on that in the meeting. Okay, and then I either send out the decline, mostly I send out decline later or things like that. So what happened when your application is declined? Okay, it's not the end of the world. Okay, don't feel heartbroken, please. Okay, and it's not a question to your heart, to what you want to do. Please don't think that application it's declined just means that you are not, the application was not complete, or maybe you could design again. Okay, and don't think that, oh, the grant number is so important. No, it's not that important. Seriously, for us, it's just a number that you receive from the system. It really doesn't mean anything. It's a reference number for us. What we care is the content of the project. So if your application is declined, let's start again. Okay, work with me, work with the district. Let's talk about, that's a good conversation. Let's start with a community assessment and see what is lacking there, and let's start again. It's not really, it's not the end of the world. So, and then usually I will give a very, now we call it educational decline, unless your project is really off. So we will give reasons in the decline later to tell you why it's declined. And if the later is not thorough enough, you can reach out to me and then reach out to us. We can have a conversation, and then we could really go through your application and explain that. Again, I know and believe me, every time we decline a grant, we as a grant officer, we feel it. Okay, I declined a grant yesterday. It's real life. I couldn't sleep I couldn't sleep last night. This morning I was still thinking about that. So it's not just you. I mean, we feel the same way, because we feel like, wow, our Rotarian put so much time and effort into this application, and how am I going, but it's not going to be approved according to our rules, according to our terms and conditions, according to our area focus policy. And every penny, it's hard-earned money from you, okay? And we, as an RGO, we need to make sure that we use every penny, every penny wisely, and that's why we have this process. So anyway, yeah, if it's decline, that's okay. Let's do it again. You are not on the blacklist. Okay, my Taiwanese Rotarians were like, can I reply again? Of course, there is no blacklist. Oh, another thing is, if your project is failed, what happened? It's okay. We learn from mistakes. The foundation learn from mistakes. We will learn the mistake and put it in our terms condition or our area focus guidelines in the future. Okay, so if your grant was approved last year, I'm sorry, doesn't mean that it's going to approve this year. Okay, because we learn. Okay, if it's a very good result, of course, then we can, but then we learn from, if the project didn't produce a good result, of course, then we will learn next year it's not going to happen. Also, every year changes, right? Every year has different issues. Like 2 years ago, there was no COVID, right? This year we have COVID, and this year actually is the second year in with COVID. So we learned a lot. Every year is different. So the application will look differently as well. So I don't know if that demystify that the process for you, but here is a life cycle for global grant. Actually, you can find this online as well. We have another one for district grant. If you haven't seen it, but then you can quickly take a look. This actually, we talked about it earlier. We have application phase, we have payment phase, we have reporting phase. And the application usually, actually this is like what happens when you hit the submit button, okay? But I would, like I said, I rather spend more time. We spend more time before you hit the button, okay? And so if your district haven't, if your district hasn't have it yet, I strongly encourage that you set up a grants committee. Okay, and grants committee, you can have more people, and ideally, also if you have a district network, district resource network, that's even better. Cadre, all those are your resources. Talk with those people before you, when you are designing a project. And then if you want me to take a look, I will take a look too. But if I rather the other things happen before you hit the button. Then there's more time for you to design a project. And sometimes if you feel that you hit a wall, okay, you feel like, well, this no go with even like during our consultation process, this method doesn't go. Please don't give up. Sometimes if you scrap it, okay, you scrap the whole project and look at it from a different perspective, from different angle, you will find a solution. And it happened many times in Taiwan. Some like I decline and I ask them to cancel so many grants, and then we start over again, and it works. So please, again, I would like to have more coach or consultation process with all of you. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, resources, the district grants committee, that's I rely on this committee very heavily. Okay, and thank you for being my first line of defense, and that's why now most of grants I receive actually are better quality and it's easier. So most of grants I receive, at least for my older districts, are when they submit, it's usually 80%, 90% approval. Sometimes I still find something to ask them, but usually they are ready to be approved. So yeah, we have lots of resources online. You can find those on our websites, and and again, I'm your best resources and your community as well.
Thank you, Shyanmei. Thank you so much. Let me just share this. Well, we have come to another session, and Shyanmei has just shared with us on the partners, MOUs, budget and funding, and the do's and don'ts. And I think it is so important when we put this in our application to look at the various areas, especially on MOUs, because we are going to work with other corporate agencies, other professional bodies. The MOUs, they also need to understand the obligation and what we need them to do so that we can fulfill our obligation to the community or to the project. I think as far as funding is concerned, yes, we have this challenge that where do we get partners? How do we engage with other project partners? There's two ways of it, looking at it. You can work project partners within your own district so that the smaller clubs could actually do bigger projects. And then, of course, looking at the taking the relationship with your sister clubs and their district, build on those leverages. And I'm sure between the districts who are present today here, and we also have now our ASEAN committee, we can actually exchange such information between ourselves and be able to support each other as far as global grants is concerned. In fact, that's one of the things our regional DRFC Jason is trying to also promote, how we can support each other, at least within the ASEAN districts. Yeah. And Shyanmei also has gone to talk to us about whether your grant has been declined. So I'm just doing a quick poll, the third poll, about whether you've experienced any of this very, very quickly, so that we'll be able to help you in the future should this situation arise. As Shyanmei has also shared, never give up, because there's always a reason why your grant is declined, as she has shared with you. And I'm sure there are other ways that we can help you, whether at district level or even at with her indulgence of how we can improve those grant application so that it meets whatever requirements. Here you go. Let's quickly do, yes, we have at 15% of who have declined, no, we've got a good number. And again, 51% have never applied. So let's move that rate figure up to at least the other two tops, so that we can have more clubs applying for global grant. Yeah. And of course, Shyanmei, thank you so much. I think most of the questions that is being asked, you have sort of shared with us. And I'm sure your presence and your support to all our members would be very, very useful. Yes, again, yes, whether they're going to approve, no, they're going to be approved. Don't worry about it. Submit your application if you've done it well. And I'm sure our Shyanmei, who is actually supporting us, the grant officer, will be able to guide us through. Yeah. With that, let me invite our, sorry, let me get this, our district grant support chairman, Susan, for a vote of thanks to Shyanmei. Susan, over to you.
Thank you very much, PDG Siti, Governor Dr. Bindi, Governor Pearly, and all Rotarians from far and near. I'm sure y'all would agree with me that our keynote speaker, Shyanmei, has delivered us a very fantastic seminar over the last 2 hours. Particularly what she mentioned about coaching us before we press the button. I think that is really so important. And the 4 key areas, I'm sure what she has shared deep from her heart will actually enable us to try our best to put together the perfect global grant application. Well, fellow Rotarians, on behalf of our District 3300 and 3310, may I present a certificate of appreciation to our Regional Grant Officer, Ms. Shyanmei Wang, who is in charge of our District Global Grant, for her precious effort and her time in guiding us. And we certainly, Shyanmei, thank you very much. We certainly look forward to more of your support, your help, and your guidance. And we will have to need you to coach us more before we press on the button. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Susan. And let me take this opportunity to also welcome Governor Bindi of District 3300. Governor has just joined us after her club visit, I think. Governor, we'd like to invite you to share with us your remarks for today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, PDG Siti Subaidah. Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to DG Dolly and all our Rotarians here today. Now, I'll start with this quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. He's one of the best known philosophers and poets of the 19th century, and one of his best known essays is on self-reliance. And he said, "Do not follow where the path may lead. Instead, where there is no path, and leave a trail." In Rotary, there is no shortage of kind-hearted people who leave a trail of goodness when they themselves create. And this is done through our two great strengths, our Rotary clubs and our Rotary Foundation. Over the years, I've been privileged to witness
We're losing DG there.
Technical issue with DG.
Yeah, Governor. Right.
I think her internet has a
Yeah.
problem.
Governor back on the screen. I think her internet is a problem. She's been heavy loaded the whole day with her club visits and all that. I'll just take over from her for a while. Okay, my friends, I'm sure DG Bindi and DG Dolly shares the same aspirations as all of us here, and what we have actually experienced this evening with Shyanmei and her presentation. While we talk about having a perfect global grant application, I think it's also boils down to having to complete that process is all about teamwork. The teamwork within the clubs, in partnerships, the teamwork with the district grants committee, the DRFCs, and here again the teamwork with our grants officer. I think that really is something that we all need to work together, and with that kind of teamwork, I'm sure your grant application would be able to not only be approved, but I'm sure the projects that we carry out and we tend to carry out and would be something that is more impactful, sustainable, and something that our community would appreciate. Now with COVID-19 and the pandemic, I'm sure there's a lot of issues, a lot of challenges, and we are thinking, how can we run projects? How can we submit projects with all these situations? But remember, my friends, as Rotarians, I think these are the opportunities we take to actually help in the recovery process of the communities that have sort of lost in many areas, and economic development is one of them, environment, sustainability, health, for example, not just mental health, which is very, very crucial, but health in very aspect. So let's look forward to doing better things. And I'd just like to share with you this little video Yes, my friends, and that comes to a little advertisement on the donating to our foundation. I mean, while we do great projects in giving, we too have to continue giving. This is a project of District 3300 about your tabung. Your change can change lives. So look out for it. District 330 Rotarians is something that we need to roll out. Supposed to be earlier, but because of the pandemic, we were unable to do so. Now, as a closing remark, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our session leaders, starting from DG Dolly, Yeap, and DG Bindi, who came on earlier on. And we had, of course, our DRFC of 3310, Dr. Shahul Hameed. I mean, he's like probably the back-end strength that we are all going to rely on, Shahul, you know, with the amazing job that you have done over the last 2-3 years. I think this is your second round as DRFC, if I'm not mistaken. So 6 years of experience. Believe me, we need your support. And of course, backing him up from 3310, you know, another familiar face with us is, of course, our PP Ng Yao Hua, a friend of 3300. Many of us are also familiar with him, and I'm sure he's able to share his experience and working with us together. And our very own team, last year, our PDG, Leslie Salahuddin, who retired as our DRFC, but I'm sure he's there to continue with us, and especially as incoming region RRFC, and our own district TRF committee, the grants chair subcommittee led by PP Susan Tu, and of course the other subcommittees that all of you are very familiar with. The only way our foundation or the work that we do with the help of the foundation and with these two districts coming together in this kind of platform is for actually clubs to take on from here. It's for you to take on from here and start applying, start looking at projects that we can do on a long-term basis. Yeah. So with that, thank you so much. If you have any further questions, do drop us an email, whether it's Shahul, myself, or even Shyanmei. I'm sure she'll be able to help us. I know your files are building up, Shyanmei, but do spare us some time too. Yeah. Okay. With that, and last but not least, thank you everyone who spent this evening with us, 2 hours. Yes, we ran 10 minutes off time, but I'm sure it's then a worthwhile trip. Worthwhile time, and thank you once again for being with us, and please continue to enjoy Rotary and do the projects that we all love to. Stay safe and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shyanmei?
Jason,
Thank you,
Singapore.
Siti.
Good night.
Thank you, PDG.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Shyamin.
Bye.
Thank you, Shyamin.
Bye.